Hi, my name is Joseph Hertz, and before I tell you who I am and what I do, let me tell you what I'm not. I'm not a career trainer, and I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm someone who spent over 20 years selling into senior executives at some of the largest organizations in the world. I've closed over $500 million in deals in my career and sat in front of over 70% of America's Fortune 1000 organizations. After thousands of cold calls, meetings, presentations, and negotiations with some of the most demanding executives in the world, I was constantly evaluated every second I was in front of them, every day for over 20 years. And I was forced to create an effective methodology, constantly improving it if I was going to give myself a chance to be successful. When I started my career as an outside sales account executive in the early 90s, I didn't receive any training. I was assigned a territory, given a stack of business cards and some brochures, and told best of luck. I was determined to be successful, and I was afraid to fail. So I started cold calling. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hung up on, yelled at, cussed at, called names, and told no more times than I can remember. But I've always been told I'm my toughest critic. And so for every no I received, every objection I failed to overcome, every mistake I made, it forced me to adjust my approach and develop a solid methodology. I set an aggressive goal for myself to schedule and attend 3 meetings every day with brand new prospects, 15 a week. And by doing so, I didn't know it at the time, but at the end of my first year, I was the top producer in the country. After my first year, I started to have salespeople reporting into me. And I wanted them to be successful and learn from my many mistakes. And I wanted them to adapt a methodology that prepared them for what they were in store for in front of every client and every prospect, with a real life emphasis. And I think people really liked it because it was so real. So I started training not just the people that reported to me. Pretty soon I was asked to train everyone in the state, the region, and pretty soon the country. And as I became the top producer for numerous organizations, outside companies started to ask me to help them train their salespeople. And so for the last 15 years, I've been using vacation days to help dozens of companies do exactly that. Now, after over 20 years since I started, I've trained over 4,000 people. I've recently left my job as a global head of sales to devote myself full-time to helping others be successful. And rather than charts and graphs and theoretical models, my methodology focuses on the real-life effectiveness skills that you'll use every day, such as the importance of an impactful personal introduction, a technique for overcoming every objection in every setting without scripts, how to effectively orchestrate and take command of a meeting, persuading people to buy from you, mastering the art of effectively extracting information out of people the right way, understanding how to ask for business, and the vital importance of never leaving a meeting or an interaction without a next step. These are just a few of the methodologies that I found are vital to bringing effectiveness into every interaction in business and in life. Many times they're the difference between success and falling short of your goals. You know, one of the biggest hurdles people face every day is the challenge of overcoming objections. No one likes objections. But I'll tell you, I haven't heard a new objection in 15 years. And I can tell you that real power is the ability to not just know how to respond to objections, but to confidently welcome them and effortlessly overcome them without canned approaches or scripts. In fact, if anyone ever hands you a script, run away. I'll not only teach you and your team my methodology, I'll flesh out and then interactively role play with you the specific customized objections that you and your business face every day, so that every client-facing member of your organization is confident, powerful, and effective in every interaction. I'll help you reposition objections and transform them into real business opportunities. I'll also help you create and deliver a far superior personal introduction, which is so vital. In fact, I think there's an epidemic in this country. Every day for over 2 decades, I've watched people from CEOs down at all levels of an organization put minimal or no effort into their personal introduction. I think this is the single biggest missed opportunity in business today. The standard name, rank, and serial number introduction does nothing to build trust, likability, or differentiate yourself. Yet surprisingly, it seems to be the norm in almost every interaction. I'll help you unlock your story, your past, and your personal value proposition that I find people don't even know they have. I'll help you use this as a very powerful tool to garner likability, trust, and buy-in right from the start of every interaction. I'll help transform the way you and your organization introduce yourself and get your audience leaning forward in their chairs when they meet you right from the start. I'll teach you my 7 components of a truly effective introduction that will help you and your organization stand out and excel right from the start in every opportunity you get. I'll teach you what to include in an introduction, what to avoid, and the common mistakes people make that kill your chances of success in your first 30 seconds of meeting someone. I've seen huge opportunities fall apart over the years because of poor introductions. I've seen multi-billion-dollar mergers fail to materialize because of poor initial introductions. In fact, I recently had a CEO tell me about a prospective merger his organization had looked at doing. I asked him why he didn't move forward, and his answer really resonated with me. He said he's always evaluated people on first impressions, and that his experience has been first impressions are true impressions. He said when the other CEO and their executive team sat down and introduced themselves, he said, I knew right then these were not the people that I wanted to leave my legacy with. He said they spent no time telling me about themselves, their passion, their motivation, or even who they were as individuals or business professionals. I thought this was a perfect example of the power of personal introductions. And I've seen some of the most talented pursuit teams not even make it to the final round because of their initial introductions. I'll work with you one-on-one with every member of your executive team or pursuit team to build a world-class introduction and ensure you capture buy-in right from the opening seconds and position yourself and your team to be more successful. Another thing I found is very few people truly understand all the required steps of a meeting. Not only do I teach people to learn and master every stage of a meeting, I'll make sure your organization has a unified pursuit methodology, you speak a common language, and you're aligned on every desired outcome. My methodology focuses on a team selling approach and ensures every team member understands exactly where you've been in the meeting, where you are, and what steps need to take place before you're ready to ask for the business. You know, where I see meetings go off track the most is when people are not sure what to say, what the next step is, or what they should ask for. And I'll ensure this never happens to you. As an example, I see people making crucial mistakes, like selling during their personal introduction, or presenting their company before they've learned anything about the client's success factors, or coming in and unloading their briefcase with product brochures or PowerPoint presentations blind to the prospect's needs, or attempting to close before they've trial closed, or leaving a meeting without a well-defined next step. There are very specific stages, transitions, and components of every meeting. And in order for you to be effective, you have to know what these stages are, and as importantly, the order in which they occur. I don't know about you, but how many times have you agreed to meet with someone and 5 minutes in you knew it was a mistake? The person in front of you seemingly had no direction as to where the meeting was going. They've spent the first 10 minutes talking about your office or the pictures on your desk, and then they immediately jumped into a barrage of questions, followed by them reaching into their briefcase and unloading every brochure they had. I teach people how to effectively, what I call, set the table in a meeting. Setting the table is aligning with the other party on how the meeting will go, the order in which it will go, and the desired outcome. And if done correctly, you'll set the tone of the meeting and convey confidence, preparation, and professionalism. You'll find yourself doing this in every meeting you have for the rest of your career, and I found it to be an amazing tool for effectiveness. You know, another thing I found is most people erroneously think the more they say in a meeting, the better, and I found it to be quite the opposite of that. Your goal should be to listen and learn about the other party, and it's so much easier at that point to customize the conversation and your solution to what they said. You know, there's an art to listening and effectively extracting information out of someone without firing a bunch of closed-ended questions in rapid succession. I'll teach you my methodology, which I call consultative questioning loops, in which people will gladly open up to you. And you'll be able to uncover their successes, their challenges, their motivations, and most importantly, their desired outcome. I'll teach you how to extract information the right way, so that you do a minimal amount of the talking and a lot of listening. My methodology will show you how to use this information to effectively customize solutions geared only toward their identified success factors. And all of these skills are important, but they'll fall short if you can't effectively ask for business. And that's an area I've found most people really struggle. Through interactive role-playing, I'll teach you how to ask for business the right way and never make the common mistake of attempting to close before you've trial closed. Lastly, you can have the most positive meeting in the world, but the biggest mistake I see people make is leaving a meeting, a call, or any interaction without a defined next step. I call this leaving yourself in relationship limbo, and it is a deal killer, both personally and professionally. In fact, it reduces the chance of a follow-up interaction by 50%. And for the record, call me in a couple weeks, or I'll reach out after I've reviewed the proposal, or send me an email, or let's grab lunch sometime, are not next steps. I'll teach you my 5 components to define what a real next step is, and I'll ensure that no one on your team ever leaves a meeting, a call, or any interaction without one again. I developed these methodologies from an extensive career spanning thousands of meetings, cold calls, presentations, and pursuits with some of the largest and most demanding companies in the world. And I can tell you, they work in every industry, every geographic region, and whether you're selling product or services. They also transcend to your personal interactions as well. I want to thank you for your time and invite you to let me help you and your organization greatly improve the way you interact with each other, your existing clients, and your prospective clients. And at the end of the day, I ask to be evaluated not on if I entertained you or put on a good show, but rather on your increase in top-line revenue, your number of new clients, and your ability to bring effectiveness into every interaction. I look forward to great success together.